fasten your seatbelts, plug in your nitrous oxide, because today we are learning how to play Heat, Pedal to the Metal. It's a very fun racing game in which you are just strictly trying to get from point A all the way to point A again, but twice. The first one to do it, moving furthest along the track, wins the game. So today we'll be talking about how to set up, how to play, and how to win. Heat, Pedal to the Metal. First thing we're going to start out with, of course, is setup. Heat is a pretty simplistic game. There's a lot of different rules and variety of things you can add to it, but we're going to be talking about the most simple version of the game itself. We're going to talk about how to set up your deck and how to set up your player board. So the game itself comes with 4 different boards, a front side and a back side on each of them. Today we're going to be setting up with the France map, as you can see here. Also, each player is going to choose a color to which they want to be. We're going to be setting up for a 4-player game, so we'll be showing you how to set up for 4 players. As you can see on the back of the cards here, they have different colors that correspond to their cars. So today we're playing with yellow, green, red, and blue. However, for the rest of this explanation, I'm just going to be focusing in on red. So what you're going to get as a player is you're going to get your own map here. You're also going to get your gear shift here, which will be started placed here on 1, which we'll get to what all that means later. Next thing you'll also get is your own little car. And your car will be determined order in a random manner. You could roll for it, or you can choose to just lift them up and drop them and see who drops first. So in this case, it was red, yellow, blue, and green. So you're gonna set them up on their starting points here at the front. So it was red, then yellow, then blue, I think, then green. Once you decide what color you're gonna be and you've gotten your gear shift in your car, you're also gonna get a deck of cards. What's going to be in this deck of cards are a series of numbers. Ones all the way, or zeros all the way up to 5. And you're also going to have your heat, which is shown here. It looks a little bit different than normal heat. Normal heat looks like this. Your character one will have a different color banner here. So this is a heat that goes into the red deck, so it's going to start in there. Also, you have something called heat in this game, which, factors into the name, of course. And how many heat you get depends on what board you're playing. So this one here has 6. So you can get 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Then you also have what are called stress cards, which each deck is going to have 3. 1, 2, 3. For the sake of these, I'm going to keep my player mat here on the board. Your 6 heat that you're given to add to your deck actually start in the middle of your board here, there. And that'll be very important, and you'll see why later. The other heat, the one that matches your color, is going to go into your deck. All this shuffles up, and you're going to put it on the left side of your board here. This is your draw pile, this is your discard pile. So, once you've done that, you are set up and ready to go. You're ready to start your engines and get this race on the way. So, we're going to start with a hand of 7 cards. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Now, as far as play goes on this game, most important thing for you to know is the top of your board here. This shows you everything you can do on your turn. First thing that's going to happen, as you can see here, is you're going to adjust your gear. Everyone starts out in gear 1. You can only go up or down 1 gear each round. However, if you choose, you can choose to spin the heat and go up 2 or down 2. We'll get into in a minute why spinning heat can be advantageous and or dangerous. So for the sake of this, let's say I decide to go ahead and jump up to 3 because I really want to start off this game, this match going fast. Because the number gear you're in are the number of cards you're going to play. And the speed in which you are going depends on the number of numbers on your cards, which will become evident in just a moment. So I went ahead and jumped up to 3. So what that does is it takes one of these heats off my engine and puts it into my discard pile, which means it'll be shuffled back into my draw pile later on. Next thing that's going to happen is everyone's going to decide where they're going. Everyone simultaneously is going to move to their gear together. And then everyone is going to lay down the number of cards equal to where their gear shift is. That's number 2 here. So I'm laying down 3. Once everyone's done, then we'll flip them all together. That prevents anyone from getting an advantage from going later on in the order. Now I'm going first, so what I'm going to do is so that's 8, 9, 10, 11. So next thing is going in turn order, whoever's in the lead, which I am here, will move that many spaces. So I'm going to move 11. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11. Vroom. And I'm getting pretty close to the corner here. And you'll see why. That's important in a minute as well. This is boosting, which we'll get into that in a second. Next thing is slipstreaming, which doesn't factor into me. Next thing is factors about the corners, which we'll get into those. And then last thing is just discarding. So any cards that are used go into my discard pile. And since I have 4 cards left over, I'm drawing 3 to get back to 7 cards. So that's a complete turn by someone. However, let's go ahead and go with yellow here. And let's say they have 10. So they move up 10. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Now, we'll go on to the next thing for them. This one here only matters if you're playing with 5 cards or more. If you're in 5th or 6th in a 5 or 6 player game, you get what is called adrenaline, which basically means you get to move 1 extra step. It's a bit of a catch-up mechanic in that you get to move a little bit faster. You also gain 1 cooldown. Next thing is boosting, which let's say for yellow, they're not going to boost. Next thing is slipstreaming. So because they are either directly behind another car or beside them, they get to slipstream. And what that means is they can move up to 2 spaces ahead. So since they're behind me, they can slipstream, which means they're going to slide 2 ahead, which is great. Puts them in the lead and puts them right before this white line for the corner, which we'll get into that in a second. Next is corner, which hadn't happened yet, and then we have discarding. They'll discard whatever cards they used, and they'll draw back to 7. And let's say they chose to only go up to 2, and they only had a total of 6. That's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Maybe they just had a really bad hand. Next thing, this doesn't factor in. This is boosting. So what they can do is they can choose to boost. In order to boost, what they're going to do is they're going to take one of their heat, put it onto their discard pile, and then they're going to treat it just like a stress card. Now, you may be wondering what stress cards are. Now, stress cards are basically a roll of luck. Basically, they're going to be anything from a 1 to a 4. They can't be 0s and they can't be 5s. They're going to be a 1 through a 4. So let's say they decide to boost, then they would pay the heat, move it over here, and then they would flip 1 card from the top of their deck, treating it as if it were one of those. So they flip it. If the card has the speedometer symbol on it, it counts. So they would get a boosted total of 3 in this instance. 1, 2, 3. It's a way of boosting themselves along and helping them catch up. And also, if maybe their cards are bad, it's another way of pushing just a little bit further. It does cost heat, which is important because when you run out, it's pretty bad in this game. And next we'll go to green here. And let's say they have a total of 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. Now that brings us to the corner here. Because, continue down the line here, they could choose to boost. Probably not a good idea here. However, they can slipstream. And let's say they choose to slipstream. So green is going to go ahead and move 2 spaces forward. Unfortunately, that takes them past this white line here, which is really bad. Because whenever you cross this white line, whatever your speed is, less than or equal to this number here. If it exceeds it, then you have to pay the difference in heat. So they moved a total speed of 12. The slipstream amount does not count towards your speed. However, the 12 does. That's a difference of 7. So what they're going to do is they're going to take 7 heat out of their heat total here. So since they moved a total of 12, not including the slipstream amount because that doesn't add to your speed, then they have to pay the difference. 12 minus 5 is 7. They only had 6. So what that means is since they had 1 more than what was needed, they wipe out. Wiping out in this is very bad. Instead of passing this line here, they slide backwards. And since they were probably at third gear doing this, they slide back to 1. All their heat has been moved into their discard pile, and heat, whenever it's in your hand, becomes blocking you in a lot of ways. Because on your 8th turn, you can choose to discard cards that you'd like. However, if they have this trash can symbol, like heat and like stress do, then you can't get rid of them by discarding them. You have to use them. They have to factor in. We'll go back to the beginning of this. Each player will once again move to whichever gear they want to go into, and they'll continue to play cards, go to the corner. If you're under the speed limit or matching the speed limit of 5 in this corner, you're fine. Nothing happens to you. It's only when you're more than that you have to pay the difference in heat. And if you can't, or if you run out, then that's when you wipe out. So basically, we're going to keep doing this, racing all the way around this track, zooming in and out, zooming all the way around the track, going around, making 2 complete laps. And once you've made 2 complete laps all the way around, then the game is over. Whoever has moved the furthest on their last turn, you cannot slipstream on the last turn. Whoever has moved the furthest speed is the winner. And that is how you play Heat, Pedal to the Metal. Any questions about Heat, please sound off in the comment section below. We'd love to hear from you. But it's a game that I really think you're going to enjoy. It's jumped its way into my top 10 probably. It's a load of fun. And get you next time, because that's the way we roll. A 6.